So how's it going? So I'm over here today with Adam Matthew Smith, the creator of Shadows. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing great. So what was the inspiration behind Shadows?
Shadows was really actually I created the characters and some of the story elements for Shadows when I was like between 8 and 10 years old. So I can say that a lot of the story element or the inspiration for it would be Image Comics. I was growing up in the '90s, so Image, Marvel, like Spider-Man, that kind of stuff, X-Men. I really liked, the whole all the Batman titles at the time. So the darkness of that, the diversity of the X-Men, and kind of the aesthetic of Image, I'd say probably is Shadows.
Is this your first comic book ever?
My first published one. I
Oh, wow.
Well, when I was younger, I wanted to be a comic book artist. That was something that I really wanted to do. So I was practicing every day, and I drew all sorts of comic books. They were probably like 10 to 20 pages long, like short ones. I never colored any of them. They were all kind of just all inked. But my level of expertise capped. So I kind of walked away from it for a little while. I did music for years, which means I wasn't focusing on the art, the aesthetic or the visual art. I was more the audio art. So when I came back to it, I was like, man, I really want to do this and like see this to fruition, but I did not have the chops. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna find someone who does.
Who is Shadows published through?
Through Amazon actually. So I actually went and I pitched to several labels, and I got a few emails back giving me some constructive criticism or just gentle no's. But I hadn't heard back from everybody, but I was kind of getting I want to say like a little bit antsy to like get it out because I was like I had worked on it for a few years, so I'm like I just want to get this out. So um, kind of starting to hear some radio silence and like getting kind of itchy. I'm like, I gotta put this out and just like get this ball rolling, because I have so many more things I want to do with this story. Shadows is really the first chapter in this longer saga I'm going to be telling. So I wanted to like get that out so I can start doing the other the other stuff. Um, so
How
yeah,
does oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm working on like a follow up series right now to Shadows.
So is issue one like a trade or is it a 32-page comic book?
So for Shadows,
Yeah.
well, Shadows, yeah, that Shadows is just a graphic novel. So yeah, it's a trade. It's 140 pages altogether. I was thinking about doing it for a little while in like a sequential, like a issue based thing, but I kind of just I was on a roll with the artist JC Grande, and we just kind of wanted to, like I said, like get it done, kind of keep moving forward with stuff because I just have so many ideas about this and thing. There's so many like if you got me really talking about this, I would get going on like all these spin-offs I want to do of side characters, and I have like this whole thing in mind, but it's all based on interest and how much I can fund as well. So
So does Amazon publishing work?
not easily. It's there were so many hoops I had to jump through and things I learned from it. I wouldn't necessarily want to do that again. I mean, I didn't want to really. I wanted to be on a label, but at the same time, I did want to get it out there so I could kind of get it out, so people could read it and give me some feedback, and I can learn and grow, kind of thing for the
Mm.
next chapter. So
Do they do like a print on demand?
they do, yeah. It's a print on demand. So what I did was I bought a bunch of copies in the beginning, so I have like physical copies that when I go to places like MegaCon, like I can sell, copies from my booth, but anyone around the world can buy that, and that's what's kind of cool about it is there are people I know from India, from the UK, from all over the world, South America, who have bought this book, um, which is really cool. So it's I don't have the distribution power like I would on a label, but I do have the I'm not paying any sort of shipping or anything like that, and Amazon takes care of printing and shipping and all of that. So that's pretty nice.
Hmm, that is pretty cool. And getting it to India and everywhere else
Hmm.
would be a nightmare.
Yeah, yeah. So that is one plus about it is it's international. And there were two different types of things. Like I could do a national and an international. And I wanted to do international because I didn't want to limit it.
Right.
So it was a different process, but it was confusing to be honest. Like the Amazon process was confusing, and I'm a little bummed. I'm not gonna crap on it too much, but I'm a little bummed because part of the perk of that was you'd be a part of Comixology because Comixology was in past tense Amazon. So they like parted ways like I think a month before I
Mm,
before I put it out, and I'm like no because I had promoted it as being on Comixology and stuff, and then they didn't pick it up. So or it wasn't because of that. It was just because they weren't involved anymore. And Comixology was like its own thing. So I was like, dang. But
So does Amazon do like what Diamond does, pay you every 3 months, or do they pay you like every time someone buys it?
no, it's like a quarterly thing.
Oh,
Yeah. Mm.
that makes it a little easier.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool though. I mean, there are good things about it. I just, of course, you'd want to be on a label, and I mean, in the future, I'm sure that'll be the case because I'm not going to stop. But but yeah, and a lot of people told me this and that about like your first time, since it is like my first published comic kind of thing. Um, and I listened to what people said, and people were telling me don't do a graphic novel, do like a issue based series kind of thing, and I didn't want to. I just didn't. I was like, no, I want to do this.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I get the allure of the other, but I wanted it to tell this continuous story. I didn't know how it was going to be received, and I've actually gotten some really good feedback. People have really liked it, which is awesome. I'm very happy because it's nerve wracking, to put something of your own out there and be like, God, I hope they like it. And especially people can be brutal on the internet. So I'm like, here we go, send. But
Mm.
yeah, it turned out better than I thought. So that being said, I was like, well, if this is it, if this is all I'm going to do, then I want it to be like there to be a beginning and an end that people can at least read. It's not like discontinued and not finished kind of thing. So I wanted to have at least one story, but I'm still going. I'm not stopping. So
So they can go buy this book right now, right?
yeah, yep. On Amazon.com, it would be kind of hard to find because between my name and just the name Shadows, it's a lot of very generic stuff going on there. But that's why, and that's why I use my middle name. It's not to be pretentious. It's because Adam Smith. If you Google that, good luck. Good luck finding me. So at least Adam Matthew Smith kind of makes it more accessible or like findable. But I've tried to look myself on Amazon just to check, and if you type Shadows Adam Smith in, you might not find the book. You have to type like all the Adam Matthew Smith Shadows or Shadows graphic novel Adam, or I don't know, like some long combination of words. And actually, that was a note I got when I was creating the book. They're like, people were like, "You think you want to name it Shadows? It's a very like generic name," and I'm like, I understand what you're saying, but it's wild to me. I looked like there are not any books named Shadows. There's like Shadowland, there's Shadow Knight, Shadow, all these things, Shadows, but not, or like, The Shadow, but not Shadows. Like it's not a book title. So I was like, I'm taking
Yeah,
it.
right. Then later you could do like a subtitle, shadows, whatever. When you do your expanded universe.
exactly. So that's actually what I was thinking, because this isn't on a label. If I do get picked up, with a series, I might be able to shoehorn the prequel to that series and be like in the back door and be like, "Hey, this is the prequel," and then I can release it, on the label, and it can be maybe like something colon shadows, or like, I have ideas, but just like some ideas for how to rebrand it, um, and the redo.
So what social medias are you on?
I am on pretty much all of them, honestly. I do have a Twitter. I'm very bad at using it. I'm now on Threads because of Instagram. So Threads, I'm kind of trying to. I don't know. Is Threads going okay? I don't really know. It was, and I don't know if it is. People are
Yeah, I've
still
been
on it.
on Twitter. I mean, I don't really know what's going on with Threads myself.
I go on there just because I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I've seen a little like decline in activity, but people are still using it, so I'm still using it. But I'd say my mains are probably Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
What's your usernames
Adam Matthew Smith. I
on all three?
made it real easy for everybody, because it used to
Yeah.
be all over the place. But I was trying to look when I was doing the book, I tried to kind of make it uniform. And I even tried to on Instagram. I don't have the picture that I use on everything else, like on my website and everything, because actually during MegaCon, uh, Instagram sent me a message and said, "Hey, you're a verified person." I'm like, "That's awesome." And they're like, "Yeah, but we don't like that picture. So give us a picture where we think it's you." And I'm like, "Okay, well." I was like, I want to be verified because it looks better for these people that I'll be talking to for labels and such, but it's not like uniform with the rest of the stuff. But I'm like, all right, I'm just going to do it. So I have it. Instagram, I think, is the only one of my social medias that doesn't have that like cartoon logo of my face with a purple background. But I try to make everything like really uniform. So if someone's searching online, they can kind of find and be like, oh, that's that page kind of thing.
Okay. What's the name of your website?
AdamMatthewSmith.com.
I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
That makes it so much easier.
I'm trying.
Comic Cons. Do you have any Comic Cons planned this year?
I'm going back to MegaCon in, I think it's February 1st, but I don't have any more for the rest of this year planned. I wanted to make it to Tampa Bay, but I missed out on that. But next year, in 2024, I'll be Tampa Bay as well.
And you're going to put your schedule on social medias?
I do, yeah. I have all of my events on my website, but people don't always look at my website, so I try to put that also on like Instagram, on YouTube, and stuff, and kind of give people the heads up.
Right. What advice would you give new creators who want to make a comic book?
Do it. Don't wait. Just do it. Just take the first step. I always say, well, if you're a writer, if you're an artist, just write or draw. Like do it every day, because if you don't, then you have nothing to work with. But if you do write or draw, then you have something to work with, to improve upon or change. If you have a blank page, you have nothing. So to just like take that first step, it's hard. The first step's the hardest. So just to like have like believe in yourself, have faith that you'll at least do something with it, and just try to stay on the path and just try to do something every day. So I think that advice worked for me, at least. So I hope it would work for others.
So when you do a trade over a single issue, do you get like a bulk rate on the pages? The more pages with your artist?
Yes, yeah, and that was part of like what was appealing about that idea too. Is like I could probably make it a little more affordable for myself, because you know I was self-funding it. I did do a Kickstarter, so I did get some funding from others. But originally, I spent thousands on it before I even did the Kickstarter. So I mean, it's expensive. It was 140 pages, so you think about it, like that many page. I mean,
Yeah.
you want the artist to have the money too, because you know, I wish I could have paid more than I did. Um, not that it was bad, but they spend so much time working on it, so much blood, sweat, and tears kind of thing that you really want them to have everything that you can give them. Um, and he made it. He kind of elevated it, JC, and made it something that I couldn't have done myself. I mean, because like I said, I do draw and I have some sort of drawing skills. But if I were to release that comic or that graphic novel with my drawings, I don't know if as many copies would sell.
Did you put your 8-year-old pages in the back of the trade?
No, but you know what? I think I'm going to be doing that for the comic series. I'll put that like in the back.
I think
Have like the original characters or the original drawings of the characters.
yeah, that'd be
That is a good idea though, to like give more. People always like to hear the story of like how I was a kid when I created this, because I mean I think everyone wants to see out their childhood dream to an extent, so I'm doing it like
yep.
um it's a tough road. I'm not gonna lie, it's not an easy road, but if you believe in it, if you want it enough, then it's worth
I've always wanted to get slimed with that Nickelodeon slime.
it. I did actually. I got slimed once at Nickelodeon Studios when I was a kid. Um,
The amusement,
huh?
the amusement park.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. I never was at. Yeah, because back in the '90s, Nickelodeon Studios was. Had you ever been to? I know you live in Florida, so have you been to Universal Studios?
Not yet.
Okay, Nickelodeon Studios is like an extension of Universal Studios. I don't know if it is anymore, but it used to be. And Nickelodeon had like this whole, like they were filming shows here. Like they filmed all that, like those like shows like that back then, like the Kid Star shows. They filmed a lot of those in Universal Orlando, which was pretty cool. But I don't think I think Nickelodeon has a studio here anymore. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna look it up as soon as we're done.
Yeah, might just be California now, but it was cool. '90s were cool.
dead, dead or alive? Who would you like to work with to make a comic book?
I would say probably Alan Moore.
Would you create something new or expand on a
Oh,
prompt?
I'd
Yeah,
love to do something new with him, like just like pick his brain. And
yeah.
he's he's an odd fellow, and I like that. But he's kind of a genius. I mean, like I took a master course by Alan Moore on like writing, and he's got a lot of really good advice, and he's got a lot of experience under his belt too. And he's a very prolific person. So it was really cool to uh, hear from his mouth like how he like his process and stuff. So I would love. That being said, I would love to like sit down with him and be like, what about this? What do we
Right.
do?
Was this an in-person class or was it online?
Oh, it was online. It was a master class on I think it's called Master Class. I think that's the name of it. But it's like a whole like series of like different people who are famous for one reason or another, and like they're kind of guiding you and your journey, kind of giving insight to their journey.
Hmm.
So it was pretty cool. It was a Christmas present. A very good
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
one.
So, is there anything you want to say before we go?
I would say if you haven't already checked out the Shadows graphic novel, please feel free to check it out. It's on my website, adammatthewsmith.com, and I also have it on Amazon. But yeah, it's the first chapter in the many chapters that I'm working on. So there's a long story ahead. So this is just the beginning, just cracking open. So
All right. Thank you for taking the time to come talk with me.
thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comic Chat Authority? Oh, come on, subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.